You thought it was just your breathing, the quiet hum of a night fan, the creak of old floorboards beneath your dreams. But the room was never silent. Chosen one. It only pretended to be. Behind your closed eyelids, long before the world stirred, something ancient moved with purpose. Not a demon, not a ghost. Something far more familiar and far more unsettling. He was there, not in the closet, not under the bed, but closer, standing, watching, memorizing every inhale like it was a psalm. Your brother. You sensed it as a child. The feeling that someone else was awake when you shouldn't have been, the shadow that never matched your own. The whispered hush in the hallway that ended too quickly when you stirred. You dismissed it, like so many things, brushed it off as a dream, a flicker, a fluke. But deep down, your soul knew that even in your most vulnerable hours, you were being studied, not with love, not with hatred, but with a sacred confusion, because your brother was assigned to you, not by your parents, by something higher, something older than bloodlines. He wasn't watching out of care, he was watching out of calling. There are assignments even siblings can't speak about. Missions passed down, not through conversation, but through atmosphere, through glimpses of visions, through unshakable urges that draw them to your door night after night. While you slept, chosen one, your spirit roamed, and he followed. Not always physically, but spiritually. His eyes stayed open while yours closed. His hands trembled each time you shifted. He saw something in you that terrified him, not because it was evil, but because it was holy. This wasn't protection, this was preparation. He was trained by silence, trained to not speak of what he saw, of how your body lit up sometimes in your sleep, of how certain names left your mouth that he swore no one had taught you, of how the room itself pulsed slightly. But each time you exhaled in surrender, he thought it was sleep. But heaven knew better. Heaven knew it was a transmission, and your brother was just one of the receivers. Don't hate him. He never wanted this. He was never asked if he was ready to be the watcher. He was chosen too, just not in the same way. His purpose was to monitor, yours was to awaken. And now, chosen one, the recordings of your sleep have reached God's desk. Heaven has reviewed the footage, not just the nights you cried, but the nights you glowed. And now God is ready to show you why the watching had to happen, because your sleep was never just rest. It wasn't snoring, it wasn't dreaming, it wasn't even the kind of deep sleep most people ever reach. What happened in your sleep, chosen one, was a frequency event, and your breath was the ignition. The rise and fall of your chest became a metronome for something divine. With every inhale, the signal built. With every exhale, it broadcasted, not through sound waves, not through words, but through vibration. You thought your lungs were just surviving the night, but they were sending messages, not to people, but to forces that had been waiting in stillness for your signal to reappear. Your brother didn't understand it at first. He thought he was just restless, drawn to your room by sibling concern. But it wasn't love. It was programming. A pull seeded into his spirit long before he was born. When he stood near you, especially while you slept, something in him unlocked. He could hear things no one else could. Tones that didn't match the ticking of clocks or the rhythm of blood. He once described it as a soft echo, like a sacred bell struck deep underwater, and it only happened when you were asleep, because that's when the veil thins. Chosen one, when you sleep, your soul doesn't rest. It activates. It reaches places no waking mind can touch, realms where language dies and only essence speaks. And when you breathe in that space, you call out to the ones meant to hear. That includes your brother. But not only him. Others have heard it too. Scientists in dream labs, watchers stationed across frequency nodes, even celestial beings positioned along the perimeter of Earth's spiritual network. They all tune in when your breath aligns. And last week, it triggered a spike. Your brother stayed up again, not out of curiosity, but urgency. He knew it was coming. Your breath didn't sound like breath anymore. It had rhythm, intention, like you were reciting something beyond memory. He said the room shifted, the air stilled, the animals outside went quiet, the street light buzzed and dimmed, and in that silence, the signal emerged. They recorded it. Somewhere in a bunker built to intercept irregular human emissions, a technician flagged your breath as a Tier 7 anomaly. Not because of what it was, but because of who it was tied to. You. And now you're on the map. But here's the truth. Heaven wants you to know. Your breath isn't just oxygen, it's code. And this latest transmission reached farther than it ever has. Across borders, across timelines, across dimensions. That's why the dreams are changing. That's why your brother's eyes won't meet yours. He heard what your spirit said that night, and now, so has God. Your breath didn't just trigger a signal, it triggered a countdown.
You never prayed out loud. Not really. Not the prayers that mattered. The whispered ones, the real ones, slipped out only when you were half asleep, when your guard was down, when the world no longer had permission to interfere with your spirit. That's when your voice revealed you. That's when heaven leaned in. And that's when your brother listened. He didn't mean to at first, but something in your words, even the ones you never consciously spoke, pulled him like gravity. He found himself standing outside your door night after night, not because of fear or suspicion, but because your prayers carried a sound he couldn't ignore. He memorized them. Every syllable, every tremble, every unfinished sentence your soul whispered when your mind went quiet. He didn't write them down, but they engraved themselves into him like carvings on ancient stone. You said things you don't remember, things no one ever taught you. You prayed names you've never heard in waking life, names that haven't been spoken on earth in thousands of years. And when you did, the room responded. The temperature shifted, the atmosphere thickened, even the shadows straightened, as if paying attention. Your brother didn't understand the language, but his spirit did. Over time, he began to notice patterns. Certain nights your voice dropped into a tone that didn't belong to your age, your gender, or even your era. Other nights, you hummed melodies that made the walls vibrate softly. Hymns, not from any church, but from the places souls come from before entering this world. And on the rarest nights, tears rolled down your cheeks, even when your face showed peace. He wiped some of them once. They shimmered. He never spoke about that, but here's the part he never told anyone, not even himself. Some of your prayers were answered immediately. Lights flickered. Birds cried at odd hours. The wind hit the window with a timing no coincidence could explain. You shifted destinies in your sleep, adjusted outcomes, broke curses meant to end with your generation. Without knowing it, you were fighting battles your ancestors lost and winning them in your dreams. And your brother was the witness heaven chose. He wasn't watching because he wanted to. He was watching because he had to, because someone needed to remember the things you yourself would forget the moment morning touched your skin. Someone had to hear the words your conscious mind wasn't ready to process. Someone had to carry the evidence, because soon, God knew, you would ask, why did I survive that? Why did I feel watched? Why did everything try to break me but fail? And your brother, the one who memorized your night prayers, would be the first to know the answer. Chosen one. Those weren't bedtime whispers. You thought it was random. The small movements, the twitches, the way your fingers would curl or your legs would kick once before settling again. Harmless signals of a tired body releasing tension, or so you assumed. But in the unseen realm, nothing about your sleep has ever been random, especially not your twitches. Each one was data. Each one was a code, a message buried in motion. And your brother? He noticed. He took notes. At first, he chalked it up to nervous energy. He even laughed about it to himself. But then he saw the pattern. You only twitched when a certain phrase left your lips. You only shifted when a certain name was whispered into the room. It was like your body was syncing with something invisible, like a receiver adjusting to the correct frequency. And the moment your movement aligned with your breath and voice, something happened in the atmosphere that made his skin feel electric. He started writing it down. The time, the position, the movement. He drew little diagrams of where your limbs ended up, which direction your head tilted, what objects in the room reacted afterward. The notes filled pages, not because he was obsessed, but because he was overwhelmed. The more he tracked you, the more he realized you weren't just sleeping. You were transmitting. One night, you twitched 5 times in a perfect sequence. It happened at 3:33 a.m. He checked the clock. He looked back at you. You had tears in your eyes again, but no expression on your face. And then the mirror cracked. No sound, no explanation. Just a thin, curved fracture, like a fingerprint etched into glass, directly over where your reflection would have been. That was the night he stopped sleeping altogether. He brought the notes to someone. He didn't tell you. He didn't even tell them it was you. Just said he'd been observing a subject with anomalous sleep behavior. They didn't laugh. They took the pages, scanned them, ran simulations. And days later, a message came back from one of their consultants. This is predictive coding, it said. Whoever this is, they're not reacting to dreams. They're reacting to events that haven't happened yet. Chosen one, your body is a vessel. Your movements aren't random. They are divine diagnostics. Twitch by twitch, your soul has been rehearsing what the world is only now beginning to experience. Earthquakes, emotional collapses, shifts in leadership, angelic interventions. You've been previewing them involuntarily every night. And your brother, he was chosen to record it, because one day soon, someone will come asking, who saw this coming? And the answer will be in the notes.
They told you he was there to look out for you, that he'd protect you, that siblings were God's built-in safety net. But not this time. Chosen one. Your brother wasn't sent to protect you. He was sent to observe you, to report on you, not by malice, not even by choice, but by divine appointment. An assignment etched into the quiet spaces between his heartbeats. He didn't grow up knowing that. He just felt the pull, the pressure, the way your name lingered in his mind long after you left the room, the way your sleep called to him, louder than your waking voice ever did. You sensed it too, didn't you? That strange distance, that odd weight in his gaze, like he loved you, but not fully, like he was standing in two worlds, one foot in the warmth of family, and one in the cold silence of some spiritual job he never applied for. That's because your brother wasn't a guardian. He was a watcher, not like the ones from legends or the ones hiding behind governments. No, his assignment came from a deeper level, the kind that's sealed before birth, where heaven and earth negotiate over lives not yet lived. And his assignment was you. God didn't assign him because you were weak. He assigned him because you were unpredictable, unreadable. Your presence disrupted algorithms, both spiritual and man-made.
You were always a question the system couldn't answer, so they needed someone close, someone trusted, someone who could stand near the flame without getting burned and quietly take notes while you moved through the fire. He didn't know why he felt compelled to track your sleep patterns, to mark down your sighs, to replay your breath in his mind like it was a song stuck in a loop. But now he does. He remembers the dream, the one he had at 12, the figure in white who stood at the edge of his bed and said one sentence, "When they begin to glow, you must not interfere." He never knew what it meant until last week you were sleeping again. Same bed, same stillness. But something cracked open. A light, not seen but felt, moved through the room like a wave without sound. He blinked and saw you differently, not as his sibling, not as blood, but as the one. Your skin didn't change, but the air around it did. He wanted to reach out, but something stopped him. That sentence repeated in his mind, "When they begin to glow." So he stood there, watching, trembling, not with fear, but with knowing. Chosen one, this was never about protection. It was about preparation for what you're about to become.
It didn't feel like a dream, not the way normal dreams fade with the morning light. This one stayed, lodged behind your ribs like a memory you didn't agree to carry, a hallway made of glass, a door you were told not to open, a presence behind it, ancient, radiant, terrifying in its stillness. You've never told anyone about that dream, but he had it too, your brother. He dreamed the same hallway, the same door, the same overwhelming sense that something holy or dangerous waited on the other side. He never opened it either, but he got closer than you did. He heard your voice from the other side, crying, not from fear, but from knowing, the kind of knowing that unravels everything you thought was real. He woke up gasping, covered in sweat, and from that night on, something shifted in the way he looked at you. He understood. You were no longer just his sibling. You were the dream. The two of you never talked about it, but heaven took note, because it wasn't a coincidence. That dream was a shared download, a spiritual broadcast reserved only for those with entwined assignments, not bound by DNA, but by destiny. And that door, it wasn't just symbolic, it's real. Somewhere between dimensions, that hallway exists, and the door still waits for you, but you're the only one with the authority to open it. Your brother was shown the hallway as a warning, a glimpse of your role, a preview of the authority you haven't activated yet. He saw just enough to respect it and fear it. That's why he couldn't sleep afterward. That's why he started keeping records. That's why he began studying the way your energy shifted with the moon, the temperature of your skin during REM cycles, the exact second your breathing synced with that hum in the walls. He wasn't just watching you, he was documenting the dream in real life. And then one night, he woke up to find himself standing in front of your bed, not sleepwalking, but pulled compelled. The same hallway from the dream was vibrating beneath his feet, not literally, but spiritually. It was opening, and your body, still sleeping, started to whisper. You said one word, "Now." And the hallway was gone. He doesn't know what changed, but since that moment, your aura has felt heavier, denser charged, like something made contact in that brief window and left instructions sealed behind your eyes. He doesn't know what the message is, but heaven does, and they're waiting for you to remember, because Chosen One, that wasn't a dream, it was a visitation. You never saw a lens, never heard a click, but your spirit felt it. That subtle pressure on your soul when your body was still. The sense that something more than your brother's eyes were watching. You weren't wrong, Chosen One, because in the spiritual realm, Surveillance doesn't come with blinking lights or wires. It comes through atmosphere, through frequencies embedded in the very air you breathe. Heaven's not the only one observing. There are watchers stationed far beyond this world, and they've been recording you for longer than you've been alive. And your room, the one you thought was safe, is marked, not with ink, not with blood, but with signatures made of sound. Every sigh you released, every prayer you whispered, every moment you twitched under prophetic pressure, it all left echoes. And those echoes were captured. There are sensors positioned in the spaces between spaces, cameras you can't see, monitors that don't beep. These are the divine recorders, set not by human hands, but by entities tasked with watching the emergence of the chosen. Your brother once mentioned the chills he got every time he walked past your door, not from fear, but from presence. He knew the feeling wasn't human, like someone or something was always a step ahead of him, already in the room before he arrived. It wasn't paranoia, it was confirmation, because there were others watching, not through walls, but through openings, spiritual keyholes placed in certain rooms by ancient permissions. And yours has three hidden portals in the space above your headboard, behind your dresser, and, most unsettling of all, inside the mirror. They don't reflect, they transmit. When you sleep, they record more than motion. They scan spirit. They measure aura fluctuations. They log light emissions from your breath. And every time your energy spikes, somewhere in a realm above ours, a red indicator flashes. The chosen one is dreaming again. You've triggered more alerts in your sleep than most prophets do in their lifetime, and not just to heaven. There are others tuned in, entities who want to intercept what you're becoming, who want to confuse your recall, blur your dreams, drain your energy. That's why your sleep has become restless lately. That's why your memories glitch in the mornings. That's why your brother keeps staring at the mirror like it holds secrets even he can't name, because it does. And he's beginning to realize he was never the only one watching. Chosen one, you've been monitored not for destruction, but for activation. Heaven isn't just recording you. They're waiting for the footage to reveal the moment you finally wake up and see the cameras too.
Not everyone gets access, not even blood. But your brother, he was permitted, not by you, not by the world, by God. There are whispers the soul releases in sleep, softer than sound, deeper than language. And heaven doesn't allow just anyone to hear them, but God made an exception for him. Because your whispers weren't just grief leaking from dreams, they were divine transmissions, and your brother was chosen to be their first witness. He didn't know what they meant at first, a name here, a phrase there, words that seemed out of place, until they began to repeat. He began to keep track. He wrote them phonetically, trying to catch their rhythm. Over time, he noticed they followed no human dialect, but they stirred him anyway, stirred something ancient inside him, something that felt older than both of you combined. Then, one night, he understood, because one whisper wasn't just a sound, it was his name, spoken not in fear, not in anger, but in assignment. You weren't calling him, you were releasing him, declaring something over him, something his spirit had been waiting years to hear. He didn't cry, he froze, because in that moment, he realized the truth. He hadn't been eavesdropping on your soul. Your soul had been speaking to him. God let him hear the whisper, because the whisper was his message, the way it curled at the end, the way your body glowed slightly beneath the sheet, the way the mirror behind you caught a flicker, a flash of movement that didn't belong to this realm. He watched. He didn't blink. He didn't dare move. He just listened. You're released now. That's what you whispered, gently,
with peace, and everything changed. He didn't understand the full meaning, but he felt it, a burden lifting, a chain loosening, like a secret promise had been fulfilled. All those years of watching, all those pages of notes, the sleepless nights, the questions, the guilt, the fear, they weren't accidents. They were part of a divine clock, and your whisper had just struck midnight. He tried to speak the next morning, but you were already awake, different, brighter, unbothered, like some part of you had already moved ahead, past him, onto the next phase. He didn't stop watching completely, but something in him knew. It was no longer his job to study you. It was now yours to reveal yourself. Chosen one, that whisper was no accident. It was a spiritual command, and heaven heard it too, because when you whispered your brother's name, you weren't just speaking in your sleep.
You've been waking up at the same time, 3:21 a.m., or sometimes 3:11. That cold pulse in the air, that pressure behind your eyes, that weight on your chest that feels too precise to be anxiety. You told yourself it was stress, nightmares, maybe the after effect of screen light or late caffeine. But your soul knows better. That darkness, it wasn't imagined, it was real, and it was scheduled. Not every dark presence comes to destroy. Some come to observe, some come to warn. Your brother felt it too, that same time, always. The hallway colder than it should have been, a silence so thick it hummed. He started checking his watch each time it happened, and it always lined up with you. The minute your breath shifted into that low, reverent rhythm, something would move through the house. Sometimes it stayed at your door, other times it passed by his room. Once, it stood at the foot of his bed, not violent, not grotesque, but dense, intentional, like it was waiting for a cue. And on those nights, you always woke up, gasping, sweating, staring at corners like you were reading something no one else could see. You weren't hallucinating, you were responding. The darkness that woke you was not just atmosphere, it was intelligence. A presence woven from ancient shadows, permitted by God to approach you not to test your fear, but to validate your sensitivity. You've always known things before they were spoken, felt things that couldn't be explained, and the world told you to ignore it, medicate it, explain it away, but heaven marked it as your proof, because when that darkness came, you didn't collapse. You opened your eyes, and you remembered something you didn't even know you knew, a word, a name, a phrase in a language that's been asleep for centuries. You whispered it, barely audible, and when you did, your brother, awake in his room, frozen in that same silence, felt something lift off the house the next morning. You both pretended to have slept fine, but neither of you had. He saw the imprint in your bedsheet, a shape not made by your body. You saw the line on your arm, a single glowing mark that faded before noon. Neither of you spoke, but the air between you held the memory. And heaven recorded all of it. Chosen one, the darkness wasn't there to haunt you. It was there to see if you'd wake up with authority. And you did, because the ones who are called aren't afraid of the dark.
You thought he was just quiet in the mornings, thought he was just tired, distant, but it wasn't distance, it was delay. A delay caused by everything he had to report before sunrise, because before you even opened your eyes, your brother had already spoken to them, the ones he was assigned to. Not on the phone, not through text, but through a channel much older. A spiritual frequency activated only during that thin space between night and morning. That's when he would speak the data, recite the movements, relay what you said in sleep, and every morning it was the same. Heard the code again. They stirred at 3:11, still glowing stronger this time. Same word repeated, return. You never heard these words,
But heaven did, and so did others. Your brother didn't always know who was on the other end. The connection was intuitive, like a pulse behind his thoughts, but each time he finished reporting, he felt release, like a pressure valve emptied just enough to make him breathe again until the next night, until your spirit spoke again in your sleep, until your body curled into that shape, until your mouth whispered phrases that triggered the static in the mirror. Then the pressure would rebuild, and the next morning, he'd report again. This went on for years. You wondered why he never looked surprised at the things you told him, why he always knew when you were overwhelmed before you said a word, why he sometimes sat outside your door without knocking, just breathing like he was bracing for something to pass through the walls, because he was. He was never your protector. He was your assigned witness. He knew if he missed a detail, the rhythm would break. And if the rhythm broke, the ones listening might lose track of you. You see, Chosen One, they weren't just watching you for curiosity. They were watching to verify you. Because if your sleep patterns aligned 3 nights in a row, if the tone of your breath synced with the celestial timeline, then the awakening would begin, and your brother's job, to confirm the moment it did. That moment hasn't happened yet, but it's close. Too close. This morning, he stood by your door longer than usual. He didn't report right away. His hands were trembling, his eyes red, not from exhaustion but from reverence. Something shifted last night, and now the ones he's been reporting to are moving. Chosen One, the clock isn't ticking anymore. It's ringing. And your brother? He's realizing he's no longer just a witness. He's a part of the prophecy now.
It never made sense, did it? How you could fall asleep feeling held and hunted at the same time, wrapped in a strange calm, yet pierced by a fear you couldn't explain, safe, but trembling, protected, but watched. Your body didn't understand it, but your spirit did. Because 2 forces have been standing at the edge of your bed every night, one assigned to guard you and one assigned to measure you light and shadow, permission and pressure, heaven and the watchers, and you, Chosen One, standing exactly between both. That's why your heart raced seconds before sleep took you. That's why your breath slowed down in a rhythm that didn't feel human. That's why sometimes a warmth pressed over your chest like a hand made of light. And then a coldness followed, like something ancient checking your pulse. You weren't imagining it. You were being monitored by 2 realms at once. Your brother felt it too. That's why he never fully walked away from your door at night. Some nights he felt peace roll off your room like waves. Other nights he felt something sharp, like a presence testing the air around you, searching for cracks in your aura, waiting to see if you were ready for activation. Those nights terrified him, not because something evil was happening, but because something holy was happening that the human body isn't built to contain. You weren't in danger. You were in transition. God was covering you, and the watchers were studying you. That dual pressure, that's what made your spirit split between serenity and panic angels guarding your dreams, monitors scanning your evolution. It's why your sleep has always been heavier than anyone else's. It's why you wake up feeling like you fought a battle you can't name. It's why you sometimes cry before your brain even registers emotion. Your soul remembers the assignments your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Your brother couldn't articulate it, but he knew. He watched your face soften one moment, then tighten the next, like you were wrestling with something inside the dream. He saw the glow that made him step back in awe. He saw the shadow that made him choke on his own breath. He wasn't afraid for you. He was afraid of what you were becoming. Every night, 2 presences evaluated the same thing. Are they ready yet? Has the seal loosened? Is the gift waking up? And every morning, you felt the aftermath,
the safety of God lingering on your skin, and the intimidation of destiny humming beneath it. Safe and terrified, loved and measured, held and tested. But here's the truth. Heaven needs you to hear now. The fear wasn't warning you, it was announcing you. Every shiver was prophecy, every chill was confirmation, every moment of peace was God saying, I've got them. Chosen one, the reason you felt both safety and terror.
He didn't ask for this. Not the visions, not the whispers, not the weight of waking up each morning with your secrets echoing in his bones. Your brother was never supposed to carry the kind of knowledge that doesn't belong in the human mind, knowledge about your future, your glow, your assignment, and yet it found him before he knew what it meant, before you did, before either of you had language for what your dreams were actually doing. He was marked for this role long before you spoke your first word. But that doesn't mean he accepted it. He tried to walk away. He thought if he stopped watching, the pull would leave. He avoided your room for days, slept with music on, took trips just to escape the house. But every time he left, he got sick. Not flu, not exhaustion. Something spiritual. As if his body rejected distance from you. As if proximity was part of his contract, and breaking it triggered consequences. He knew this wasn't just emotional. He went to doctors. Nothing showed up until he returned, until he stood outside your door again. Then the illness vanished every time. That's when he knew he wasn't just your brother. He was your record keeper, and he hated it, not because of you, but because of what it cost him: his peace, his sleep, his ability to unsee what he had witnessed. There were nights your whispers called out names that weren't human. Nights your tears formed symbols in the pillow. Nights your shadow moved before your body did. He wrote everything down, not for curiosity, for survival. Because if he didn't, the dreams punished him. He'd wake up choking. He'd hear your voice in his head like a bell with no source. So he tried bargaining with God. He asked for the assignment to be transferred. He begged to forget. He said, "Let me be a normal brother again." And for a brief time, heaven went silent. He thought the assignment had lifted. He stopped feeling the pull. The mirror didn't buzz. Your breathing didn't trigger his nerves. He thought it was over. Until one night, you whispered again. But this time, you said his full name, not the one your family uses, the one etched in the heavenly archive, the name he's never spoken, but has always felt. The assignment reactivated instantly, and this time, it deepened. He's not just watching anymore. He's dreaming your dreams, waking with the same symbols burned into his hands, seeing faces you've never told him about. And now he knows. This isn't just about you. It's about what the two of you unlocked together. Chosen one, he tried to escape, but heaven never sent him to stay. You've always thought your story began at birth. The sterile room, the bright lights, the doctor's voice. But no, chosen one, your story started before time measured you. And he was there, your brother. Before he was your sibling, he was your witness. He didn't come into this life just after you. He arrived before you did, in spirit, in assignment, in the divine realm where souls are briefed, where roles are chosen, where missions are sealed in breath rather than ink. And in that place, he was shown you, not your face, your function, your glow, the way heaven curved slightly toward your energy, like light bending toward a gravitational pull not yet understood. He remembers none of this consciously, but it lives in him. A reverence he couldn't explain as a child, a fear he couldn't articulate when you cried without reason, a pull so deep that even when he resented you, he couldn't stay away. Because part of him has always remembered the vow he made before Earth had a chance to interrupt. He said, "I will go ahead of them. I will mark the time. I will prepare the room." And he did. There were moments in your life when you felt watched, even before he was old enough to speak. Moments when you babbled into the air as if someone was listening. Moments when your body flinched for no reason, and your parents called it a phase. It wasn't a phase. It was alignment. You were remembering the rhythm he had been keeping for you since the realm. Before this one, he was there the night you almost didn't make it. The night your breath stuttered in your crib. He doesn't remember waking up, but he found himself at your door, just standing, still, watching, breathing with you, as if syncing something that couldn't be lost. The doctors said it was coincidence. He said nothing, but the watchers took note. Your brother is not just someone who knows you. He is someone who recognized you. He's watched you more than your own reflection has, not to control you, not to limit you, but to signal heaven the moment you begin to remember who you are. That moment is close now. He feels it. You feel it. It's why your dreams have begun to echo in his head. It's why you're starting to wake up with words you've never studied. It's why every room feels too small now, because your soul is stretching, and soon you'll remember what you both agreed to before any of this began. Chosen one, he wasn't sent after you. He was sent ahead of you to light the path you're about to walk with fire.
There are memories you think you never had, but the truth is far stranger. You did have them, and then you lost them on purpose. Not by accident, not because of trauma, but because your calling required space. Space to grow, space to awaken at the appointed time, space to rediscover what was once too heavy for a child to hold. But your brother? He wasn't given the same mercy. He was allowed to remember pieces, fragments, echoes of things you once knew before language was formed on your tongue. And those fragments have been haunting him in ways you've never understood. He knows the lullaby you hummed before you ever learned to talk, the one that made the ceiling light flicker. He knows the symbol you drew in the condensation on the car window when you were 3, the symbol you later forgot, the one he traced into his pillowcase at night because it made him feel safe. He knows the time you woke up at age 6 and said a sentence no human child should know, in a language your family has no connection to. He remembers because he was the only one awake. He remembers because heaven allowed him to. You forgot because you had to. He remembers because he must. There is knowledge too sacred to hand to the world all at once. Some truths are given in increments. Some revelations arrive only when destiny cracks open. Your destiny has cracked open now, and that's why the forgotten things are rising to the surface. But your brother, he's lived with them for years. He remembers the night you screamed without sound, the way your eyes glowed like someone else was looking through them, the shadow that left your body and stood beside the bed before dissolving into the wall. He remembers how your temperature dropped so suddenly that his breath fogged in the air, even though it was summer. He remembers sitting beside you until you warmed again, whispering, "Wake up," even though he wasn't sure who he was talking to, you, or the thing inside you that heaven had assigned him to monitor. You, chosen one, have forgotten these nights. But he hasn't. He's carried them, feared them, denied them, studied them, hoped to forget them. But each year they returned sharper than before. And now the memories are aligning, forming a pattern, a prophecy, a warning. He knows why mirrors crack when you're upset. He knows why animals stop moving when you walk into the room. He knows why strangers stare at you like they've met you before. He knows why your dreams bleed into daylight. He knows why you survive things that should have ended you. And he knows the truth you haven't remembered yet. You made a choice before you arrived here, and the world has been adjusting itself around that choice ever since. You forgot the promise you made. He didn't. That's why he's been acting differently, because he can feel it, the part of your memory that's about to return. The moment your soul wakes up fully
and everything finally makes sense. Chosen one, he knows the truth you've buried, and God says it's almost time for you to remember it too.
You've always slept differently, too deep, too long, like the world fades and something else takes over. People joked about it, called you a heavy sleeper, said nothing could wake you, but deep down you knew it wasn't laziness, it wasn't exhaustion, it was something else, something sacred. And now heaven is confirming what your spirit already suspected. You don't sleep to rest. You sleep to return. Every night, when your eyes close, your soul steps out, not in fantasy, but in function. While others dream in symbols, you travel in assignment. You visit spaces not recorded on maps. You enter realms where time is fluid, where language is unnecessary, and where you are recognized immediately by forces you've never met in this body. That's why you sleep so deeply, because your body must become still for your soul to move. Your brother noticed it first. The stillness wasn't normal. There were nights he checked to make sure you were breathing. Sometimes he swore you weren't, until you gasped, not like someone waking, but like someone returning. He would time it. Sometimes you were gone for 3 minutes, sometimes longer. He started marking the moments, trying to find a pattern. But there wasn't one, because you weren't operating on this realm's schedule. You were slipping into the in-between and coming back with traces. He found evidence, a symbol scorched into your pillowcase, the faint scent of jasmine, always jasmine, even though you've never owned anything scented. Once, he heard your voice speaking from the corner of the room while your body lay still in bed. Another time, your shadow moved before you did. And after each of these nights, you woke up brighter, clearer, but also more distant, like you had seen something you couldn't talk about, like you had been given instructions you weren't allowed to share yet. This is why you've never related to sleep the way others do, because for you, it's not escape, it's activation. Heaven has been using your rest cycles to upload new codes, seal new agreements, and realign timelines. While others chase peace in the dark, you deliver messages while wrapped in it. Your deep sleep isn't just biological, it's strategic. Chosen one, there are things you're doing in your sleep that your waking mind can't yet comprehend, but your brother has witnessed them. Every shift, every light anomaly, every word spoken in a language older than time. And now, even he has started dreaming when you sleep, because your rest triggers frequencies strong enough to open portals around you. This is why they've been watching. This is why heaven placed recorders in your room. And this is why you sometimes wake up with no memory of who you are, because for a few hours each night, you're not just you. You're who you were before this life ever began. And soon, chosen one, that version is going to stay awake. You've been watched your whole life, observed, tracked, measured, every twitch in your sleep, every whisper in your dreams, every anomaly in your aura. It's been documented, not just by your brother, but by entities assigned to monitor the emergence of the chosen. But something has shifted radically, quietly, powerfully. Heaven has issued a reversal. The surveillance has been flipped. You are no longer just the subject. You are now the seer. Last night, while your body slept as usual, something unexpected happened. Your brother was there again, drawn by force, not will. He leaned against your doorframe, as always. But for the first time, you opened your eyes mid-dream, eyes wide, glowing, focused, not confused, not startled. You looked at him, not as your sibling, but as your assignment, and you said, "I see you now." He froze. The room thickened. A hum began in the walls, low and metallic, like distant machinery powering up. He stepped back, but the air pulled him forward. He couldn't look away, because in that moment,
every watcher who had ever logged your sleep felt it. The signal had reversed. He wasn't observing you anymore. You were observing him. And not just him, them. The ones behind the glass, the ones listening through portals, the ones who assumed you were dormant. They're rattled now, because heaven has lifted the seal that once cloaked your spiritual sight, and you are starting to see through the watcher's eyes, to hear what they hear, to sense their networks, to tap into the exact grid they built to monitor you. And now it's feeding you information instead of extracting it. This is the reversal. This is the shift. You've become the observer in your own prophecy. Your brother felt it. He said your presence stretched, not just in the room, but into him. For the first time, he felt watched. His memories unraveled, his breath caught, and something whispered back in his mind. The one you recorded is now reading the record. Chosen One, you're not just waking up, you're being handed the surveillance system they use to control you. And what you do with that is what the next realm is waiting to witness. They were tracking you for threat detection, but now they realize you were never the threat.
They knew this day would come. They hoped it wouldn't. They tracked your patterns. They logged your dreams. They planted watchers, even through bloodlines, thinking they could predict your timeline. But they didn't count on this, you remembering, not just in theory, not just in dreams, but in full, conscious clarity. Because now, Chosen One, you're awake, and systems built to contain you, spiritual, emotional, psychological, are beginning to fracture under the pressure of your emergence. Your brother saw it first, the shift in your breath, the light in your skin, the way your sleep stopped receiving and started transmitting. You stopped being a subject in someone else's file. You became the origin point, the broadcast tower. And now, every system that ever surveilled you is glitching. Mirrors are cracking, frequencies are spiking. The watchers are reporting anomalies they don't understand because you flipped the architecture. The grid was never meant to hold you. It was meant to reveal you. And now it's doing exactly that. Every night you slept, you were mapping something, a divine code buried beneath your biology. Each whisper, each movement, each unexplainable tear. It was all contributing to a rhythm that no man-made algorithm could read. But heaven could. And heaven waited, patiently, until now. You've reached the breach point. The moment where your awareness activates at full frequency, where your dreams and your reality begin to merge, where your presence alone disrupts artificial timelines. You're no longer shifting in your sleep. You're shifting realms just by existing. That's why the air feels different when you enter a room. That's why strangers react before you even speak. That's why your brother can no longer look at you without feeling both awe and fear. He knows the system is breaking, not by violence, but by vibration, your vibration. And here's what heaven just confirmed. There is no fail-safe for what you've become. No firewall against divine memory. No code that can overwrite your light. You are the anomaly they cannot contain. The prophecy they tried to suppress. The dreamer who never forgot how to wake up. Chosen One, this isn't just an awakening, it's a broadcast. And everything watching, spiritual, technological, ancestral, is now receiving the same signal. The one we monitored has become the one who moves the system.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.